What if I told you that the reason your MSP isn't growing has nothing to do with the tools, the talent, or the tactics, and instead has everything to do with the invisible box that you have been taught to build inside? This episode of the Whiteboard series of MSP Insider is going to break down this concept from Kevin Clune from our full episode, and it is a huge unlock if you have been up against that growth mountain and struggling for so long. What if it wasn't your fault at all? We're going to dive straight inside this episode of the MSP box that is shrinking you, and we will walk through how to break out of it in this deep dive from Kevin Clune. So let's start with this visual, right? Just like the name of it. Here you are, the box that you have been placed in, the box that the industry has placed you in and placed around you, literally built the walls around the reality that you have. Now, this box is safe. It's familiar. You've been handed it through forums, through peer groups, through every vendor that you've interacted with, through all of the best practice bullshit that you've been fed. But here's the problem. You have shrunk your thinking to fit inside the ecosystem, inside this box, when you were really meant to expand outside of it.
We didn't even know the term MSP, and we didn't know that there were all these other MSPs out there, right? Like, we were just doing our own thing.
Now let's break down this box just a little bit more. Let me get you a little bit of room here. We'll move the box over there. And let's talk really about what's happening inside and with this box as it relates to the industry. There's really just kind of two fundamental components that are happening, right? Down here at the very base, the fundamental of really the ecosystem, the channel, the industry, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. What it is this. Echo chamber thinking. All right. Down at this level, this is where you're building like the others, you talk like the others, you sell like the others, you sound exactly like all of the others. It's what the industry has bred us to do. It is an identity trap, okay? The moment that you realize that you're an MSP, you start behaving how you think an MSP should behave.
You kind of shrink your limits to fit the ecosystem instead of, like, when you're outside of it, you're just kind of doing your thing.
So what the industry has taught you to do this whole time is really install this copy and paste strategy, right? And like that was the epitome of success. That was the peak of your evolution. But this area, this state, the top of that pyramid, is really where MSPs just imitate what works in the space, right? It's rarely strategic. It's usually pretty safe. And it literally creates the situation that you're so frustrated by, which is you're not differentiated. You're competing on price, right? No one knows the difference between you and the 17 competitors in your market. And then we wonder, well, why is that the case? Why is it this way? Why does it need to be this way, right? At the second tier, everyone's literally running the same scripts provided by the same people saying the same things about the same things, right? We're in the same verticals. The QBR decks that you're using are the same as everyone else. There's literally no edge. There's no differentiation, and it's baked in, right? But what if the ecosystem is your biggest constraint? Let's look at Kevin's background, right? He didn't build this from the inside out. He built it from the outside in. He was a marketer, an affiliate marketer at that. And you guys may not even know what that is, but it's literally the most brutal type of marketing there is. Like, it's kill or be killed, scrappy, and you're only making money if you sell someone else's product, right? And then he was a strategist because he had to figure that out, and he did. He conquered it.
You only get paid if you sell something. You have to actually do marketing that works.
His world demanded outcomes, right? There was no fluff. There was no brand equity games. He was literally in a conversion race where he had to sell someone else's value prop from the outside as a third party. Only thing that mattered was conversion. Now, that is the lens that revealed this shocking contrast. And the shocking contrast is this, that MSPs don't lack tools, right? They lack positioning, they lack demand gen muscle, and they lack buyer psychology awareness. Probably even in that order. So here's what I want you to do with me. Let's climb out of the box, right? We're going to get straight down into it with like first principles strategic thinking about really the true landscape that you're dealing with. And this will empower you to conquer what has been setting you back for so long. So let's start down here at the bottom, the base of this pyramid, right? Again, it's the same concept. It's the echo chamber. And while we're here, I'm going to switch this up so you can read them a little bit better on the labels. But nevertheless, the bottom one is the echo chamber thinking, right? Who's doing what in the MSP space, right? The copywriting, the benchmarking, the reacting. Like when you're down at this level, that's all you can do. You're literally fighting for the table scraps with everyone else beneath the table. And when you elevate to the next level, then you start executing just like I told you in the first pyramid, right? Like this is inside the box execution. Inside the box execution. And what does that even mean? Well, here we're really talking about like incremental changes, right? But you're still trapped in this MSP vocabulary. And the MSP vocabulary is exactly where the industry has forced you to think. You're just trapped inside that particular bubble. You're talking about the things that your prospects don't even care about. Your current clients don't even care about. You're using language that doesn't resonate. So then you start moving up the pyramid, right? And where do we go from there? That's where we start using market-driven insights or decisions. You got to deal with the kindergarten handwriting, but the value of the content's worth it, right? So this is where you start shifting from what do MSPs do to what does my buyer really even need? I'm going to ask that question again because this is really where the arc in my transformation from sales and marketing on the MSP side really started to change everything. Like, what does my buyer actually need? It's where we start shifting the focus from inside our four walls and start looking externally to what really matters to the people that we're trying to sell to, right? This is where Kevin started his climb.
I had to make a lot of adjustments. And part of that adjustment was really trying to better understand like who these companies even are that need this and like why do they need it and what are they looking for?
And then as we transcend, this is where things really start to get magic, right? So when we go to first principle, builder. Now that's you as the owner of the MSP. This is where you're really deconstructing the category of the box that you've been placed in. You start rebuilding all of your offers from scratch. You change the language. You pair your sales cycle with the buying cycle. You understand the signals from the buyer intent. And it's all re-engineered, right? We're not doing anything the same as everyone else, which is going to make us different from everyone else. And lastly, once we've kind of gone through that massive deep thinking exercise, we will ascend to the last stage, which is the strategic operator. And in this phase, this is the one that will play across all of the categories, right? When you get to this point, this is where you're actually going to start thinking in leverage, not just technology. This level of showing up, right, in the top tier, this is where you're building media, you're building demand, you're building partnerships, and everything is category neutral insights, right? It's literally like stealing the scripts from other industries and bringing it into your MSP to explode, to grow, to differentiate, to sing a different tune that someone actually wants to listen to.
We try to just bring the best kind of education, most thoughtful content possible from the best people.
You don't need another playbook. You need to stop borrowing belief systems from the current playbook providers. That's the whole purpose of thinking strategically, getting to this number 5, right? At tier number 5, you don't just ask, what do MSPs do? You ask, what should we do for our buyer that no one else dares to do? You design strategies that couldn't come from inside their box, right? Because they didn't come from inside their box. Ultimately, what I'm asking you to do when you elevate to this level of thinking is literally even self-eject from this pyramid, right? This will give you, when you get to this level, an irresistible advantage in your market. This is the lens that Kevin pulls from, right? His history as an affiliate marketer, which is the toughest ground to cut your teeth on. High ticket B2B sales, productized services, and publishing, right? All of that experience combined brought to this one industry that struggles so much at this is how he's differentiated so far. So what I want you to do is burn the box that the industry has placed you in, right? Stop waiting for the next MSP trend to tell you who to be. Start studying and demand from outside our category and rebuild your model from scratch. If you really have no idea where to start, a great place could be subscribing to Kevin's MSP Weekly Hacks, right? He breaks down some of these strategies on a regular basis. And it's not just because it's going to make you feel safe, but it's because they'll actually make you think dangerous thoughts again, right? The things that put you on the map to begin with. It's going to restore you to your roots, but give you the language that you need to actually speak externally and light the fire of growth in your MSP again. Now, let me show you something else that I built for you real quick. An entire workbook distilled down through the knowledge and experience and wisdom that Kevin left behind, again, on our full episode. Feel free to go watch it if you haven't. But here it is, an entire worksheet. You can walk through it with you, with your team. It gives you the examples. It gives you what to do about it. And in the end, all you have to do, if you want that workbook, is just comment anywhere on this page, box. Maybe it's in the thread of this post, or maybe it's on the YouTube channel. Wherever you're reading this, wherever you're seeing this, just comment box, and we will deliver you that worksheet that I just showed you on screen. And you can walk through the process of how to get off the X and start doing this in your own MSP. I assure you, your messaging is far more important than your marketing, and your marketing is far more important once you nail the messaging than anything else that you'll do. And it sets your conversations up in sales for something that you've just never experienced before. So please take it from me. If you don't want to trust me, then take it from Kevin, who cut his teeth literally in the absolute hardest game as it relates to marketing. You don't believe me? Go do a Google search on affiliate marketing and just take a look for yourself. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the MSP Insider Whiteboard Edition. Please comment box, get the workbook, change your MSP, change your life.